Alina had heard arguments before. Thin apartment walls made privacy a luxury, but this was different. The scream was raw, tearing, almost animal. It jolted her upright in bed, heart hammering as the sound echoed again through the hallway. She grabbed her phone and rushed toward her door, pressing her ear against the cool metal. Another scream, female, desperate, followed by a heavy thud that shook the floor beneath her bare feet. "God, what is happening?" she whispered. Her hands trembled as she dialed emergency services. "Yes, I'm hearing screams. My neighbor, please send someone." "I think she's in danger," Alina pleaded, pacing her living room. The operator's voice was flat, uninterested. "Ma'am, we have no units available right now. Stay inside." "No units?" She's screaming for her life. "Stay inside, miss. We'll log the call." Click. They hung up. Alina stared at her phone, disbelief twisting in her chest. She dialed again. And again. The same bored responses. No patrol cars. No sirens. Nothing. Just silence. Until the screaming suddenly stopped. A cold shiver crawled down her spine. Alina cracked her door open just an inch. The hallway was dim, the flickering light casting shadows that played tricks on her mind. Her neighbor's door, once closed, now hung slightly open. She swallowed hard. "Hello," she whispered. No answer. She took one cautious step into the hallway. Then she saw it. A tall, dark figure stood inside the neighbor's apartment. Not moving. Not hiding. Just watching her. A silhouette carved from shadow. Alina froze. The figure took a slow step toward the doorway, and though she couldn't see his face, she felt the weight of his attention like a hand closing around her throat. She slammed her door shut and locked it, breath shaking. Her phone slipped from her grip and hit the floor. The police weren't coming. Someone else was already here. And whoever that figure was, he had seen her. Alina backed away from the door, pulse racing. A single thought struck her. I should never have opened that door. She sat curled on the couch, every light in her apartment glowing as if brightness could keep danger away. Her phone lay on the coffee table, screen littered with her desperate call logs. 11 attempts. 11 failures. Not a single officer showed up. Every few minutes she glanced toward her front door, half expecting it to rattle, to burst open, to reveal that shadow she saw in the hall. Her mind replayed the moment over and over, the open door, the silent figure, the way he looked at her. By dawn, her nerves were frayed. Alina scrubbed a hand over her face and finally forced herself toward the peephole. She pressed her eye to the glass. Nothing. The hallway was empty. Quiet. Too quiet. Her neighbor's door was now closed, as if the night before had been nothing but a nightmare. A violent, impossible nightmare. She took a shaky breath. Maybe she needs help. Maybe she escaped. But another part of her whispered the darker truth. Maybe she didn't. Alina turned away, grabbing her jacket and bag. She needed to leave, breathe, think. But when she twisted the lock to open her door, a soft knock sounded from the other side. She froze mid-movement. Not heavy. Not rushed. Just one quiet, deliberate knock. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. The police wouldn't knock like that. Her neighbor wouldn't knock at all. She stepped back. Another single knock. As if whoever stood outside had all the time in the world. Alina forced her voice out. Who is it?" Silence. Her hand hovered over her phone, debating another useless call, when a deep, smooth male voice finally responded. "You made a call last night." Her breath caught. "We need to talk." Not a cop. Not a neighbor. Not anyone she recognized. She backed away slowly, shaking her head, but the voice followed her like a shadow filling the room. "Open the door, smart girl." The familiarity in his tone frightened her more than the knock. Someone had been waiting for her. Someone who knew she reported the screams. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Alina stood frozen, staring at the door as if it might inhale and swallow her whole. That voice, smooth, deep, confident, didn't belong to any officer she'd ever heard. It carried something else, something dangerous, something certain. She forced herself to speak. "I'm not opening the door." A low chuckle answered her, quiet, amused, as though he'd expected exactly that. "I didn't ask," the man replied. "I advised." Her stomach twisted. The peephole. She had to see him. Alina crept forward, pressing her eye to the glass. He stood there, tall, dressed in a fitted black coat, hands in his pockets like he was waiting in line for coffee, not outside a terrified woman's apartment. His head tilted up as if he could feel her watching. Then, subtle, intentional, his lips curved into a smirk. He knew she was there. Who are you? She whispered. His answer slid through the door like velvet. The man who came when the police didn't. Her breath stilled. He leaned closer to the door, voice dropping to a murmur. You saw something last night. Something you shouldn't have. That puts you in my world now. Your world? What does that even mean? It means, he said, that if I walk away someone else will come for you. And they won't knock politely. Her pulse slammed against her ribs. I'm not the one you should fear, he added. I'm the one keeping you alive. Alina stumbled back, shaking her head. This is insane. I'm calling the police. They won't come, he said, his tone firm but unbothered. Not here. Not for this. Not for you. Anger flickered through her fear. What do you want from me? A beat of silence. Then his voice softened, dangerously. To keep you breathing, smart girl. Alina gasped. The same words she'd heard through the door last night. The same voice in the hallway. The watching silhouette. Her voice trembled. You were there, in my neighbor's apartment. I was, he said simply. And I'm the reason you're still alive to talk about it. Her knees nearly buckled. This wasn't a nightmare. This was real. And the man outside her door wasn't going anywhere. Alina's hand hovered over the doorknob, not to open it, but to keep herself from shaking apart. He spoke again, voice low, unhurried. Open the door, Alina. Her breath caught. How do you know my name? Another pause. A quiet exhale, almost a laugh. I know everything that happens in my territory. Her territory? No, she swallowed. You still didn't answer who you are. Open the door, he repeated, and I will. A long silence stretched between them, thick as smoke. Finally, against every screaming instinct, Alina unlocked the door and opened it just an inch. Just enough to see his eyes. Dark, sharp, unreadable eyes that studied her as if she were a puzzle he'd already solved. He didn't push the door, he didn't need to. His presence alone filled the space. Who are you? She whispered. He dipped his head slightly. Dante Moretti. The name hit her like a physical force. She'd heard it whispered in the neighborhood, rumors spoken only in hushed voices. A man the police avoided. A man who owned half the city's underground. A man you didn't cross if you wanted to live. You're a mafia boss. His lips curved. At least you're quick. Smart girl. Her stomach tightened. What do you want with me? He stepped forward, slow, controlled, until the door pressed against his chest. You made a call last night, he said. You reported screams. That put you on someone's list. What list? The kind where people disappear. Her blood ran cold. Dante continued, tone matter of fact. The woman next door was involved with a trafficking crew trying to move into my district. Your call complicated their plans. They think you heard more than you did. I didn't. It doesn't matter. He shrugged. They already want you gone. Alina felt the walls closing in. So what? You're here to finish the job? Amusement flickered in his eyes, dark, dangerous, but undeniably intrigued. If I wanted you dead, he said softly, you wouldn't have woken up this morning. She swallowed. Then why are you here? Dante leaned in, his voice brushing her skin like a shadow. Because when someone threatens what's mine, he said, I handle it personally. Her heart stopped. What? He smirked. You called for help. That makes you mine to protect. Alina slammed the door shut on instinct, her breath shattering in her chest. Mine to protect. Who talks like that? She backed away from the door, but Dante's voice followed, calm as ever. Alina. Open it. No, she whispered, shaking. You can't just claim me. A sharp metallic click cut her off. The lock. Her lock. She stared, horrified, as the doorknob turned from the outside. How are you doing that? Your building security works for me, Dante replied. You live in my territory. You should know the rules. The door opened slowly, deliberately, until he filled the frame. Tall, controlled, unbothered. He stepped inside like a storm moving through a quiet room. Alina stumbled back. You can't just break in. I didn't break anything. His gaze swept the apartment. If I wanted to, I could have walked in hours ago. Her throat tightened. Dante looked at her, really looked at her, and something in his expression shifted. Not softer, but sharper. Like he'd confirmed a suspicion. They'll come for you today, he said. Before nightfall. Alina's blood iced. Who? The crew your neighbor worked with. He slipped his hands into his coat pockets. They think you saw faces. Heard names. They'll want to erase the problem before it spreads. Her knees weakened. What do you expect me to do? He stepped closer. You're leaving with me. What? No, absolutely not. You want to live? He asked, voice dropping. Then you don't stay here. She shook her head wildly. I'm not going anywhere with a mafia boss. You don't have a choice, Dante said simply. Not anymore. As if on cue, a loud crash echoed from the back of the building, metal hitting concrete followed by hurried footsteps in the alley. Alina jerked toward the sound. What was that? Dante's jaw tightened. They moved faster than I expected. He reached out and grabbed her wrist, not harsh, but firm enough to silence every argument she had prepared. We're leaving, he said. Now. Alina stared at him, breath trembling. And for the first time since the screams began, she realized Dante Moretti might be the only thing standing between her and death. The ride was silent, the city's lights streaking past in long, blurred lines. Alina's mind raced faster than the car. Where are we going? She finally asked, voice shaking. To somewhere safe, Dante replied, eyes fixed on the road. And then, I'll explain. Alina swallowed hard, glancing out the window. Every shadow in the alleyway seemed alive, every passerby a potential threat. Finally, after a tense 20 minutes, the car slowed in front of a massive, iron-gated mansion. Security cameras swept overhead like mechanical sentinels. Dante's men stood at the entrance, expressionless, their presence enough to make her stomach churn. Inside, Dante commanded. Alina stepped in, every sense on high alert. The interior was luxurious, modern, dark, and intimidating. Dante closed the door behind her, turning to face her fully. You need to understand what happened last night, he said. His gaze was sharp, unwavering. Your neighbor wasn't just anyone. She was part of a trafficking ring trying to infiltrate my territory. Alina blinked. A trafficking ring? What does that have to do with me? You reported her screams. You saw what you weren't supposed to see. That made you a target. Dante's voice was cold, precise. They think you know too much. Alina shivered. So, they wanted to hurt me? They did, he confirmed. And had I not intervened, you wouldn't be here right now. Her heart pounded. Why are you telling me this? Dante stepped closer, towering over her. Because you need to know the danger you're in. The police won't protect you. No one will, except me. Alina's mind whirled. You saved me? But why? He smirked, the same dangerous curve of lips from the doorway last night. Because when someone interferes with what's mine, I make sure they survive, if they're smart enough to follow my rules. And you are. That's why I call you my smart girl. Alina swallowed, a mix of fear and awe washing over her. She realized that the danger wasn't over, it had just changed shape. Her life, once ordinary, now revolved around a man she barely knew, a man whose power and reach were absolute, and whose protection came with a cost she could not yet understand. And deep down, a part of her knew she had no choice but to stay close, or risk disappearing forever. Alina tried to keep her distance, choosing the farthest corner of the living room, but distance meant nothing in Dante Moretti's house. He watched her, quietly, intensely, like a man studying a new weapon he just acquired. You're pacing, he noted from behind her. I'm terrified, she snapped. Of this place. Of you. Of everything. Dante leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, gaze unreadable. You're alive. That's what matters. She glared at him. That's supposed to comfort me? No, he said, voice calm. It's supposed to remind you that fear can be useful. It keeps people alert, aware, obedient. Alina's breath hitched. I'm not your prisoner. You're not, he agreed. But you are under my protection. And that requires cooperation. His tone wasn't threatening, worse, it was firm, patient, absolute. He wasn't trying to scare her. He was simply telling her how the world worked in his universe. Alina turned away, hugging herself. Why me? Why bother? Footsteps approached slowly. She refused to look at him, but she felt the shift in the air when he stopped directly behind her. Because you did something most people never do, Dante murmured. You acted. You heard a woman suffering and you didn't stay silent. His breath brushed her ear, sending an involuntary shiver down her spine. That kind of instinct, he whispered, makes you valuable. Alina spun around. Valuable? I'm not an asset. No, he said softly, eyes locking on hers. You're a rarity. Her heart pounded violently. This wasn't flattery. This was fascination. Stop looking at me like that, she demanded. He smirked. Like what? Like, her voice faltered. Like you're studying me. I am. She stumbled back, pulse racing. Dante's gaze followed her, darkening with something she tried, and failed, to ignore. You're afraid of me, he said. I should be. But you're not running. Her throat tightened. She didn't know how to answer that. Dante stepped closer, lowering his voice. I watch what I protect, Alina. That includes you. Her breath caught. Are you going to keep watching me like this? His lips curved again, slow, assured, dangerously amused. Oh, I already have been, he said. Since the moment you called for help. Her chest tightened as the realization sank in. She wasn't just in Dante Moretti's house. She was in his attention. And he had no intention of letting her slip out of it. Alina woke to the sound of alarms, sharp, metallic, echoing through Dante's mansion like a war cry. She bolted upright, heart pounding. Footsteps thundered down the hall. Men shouted orders. Guns clicked. Dante's voice cut through the chaos. Secure the perimeter. No one gets in or out. Alina yanked the door open just as Dante reached her room. His expression was carved from steel. What's happening? She gasped. They found you. 2 words. Enough to drain the blood from her face. Dante grabbed her wrist and pulled her into the hallway, moving with lethal precision. How? She breathed. A leak. His jaw flexed. One of my men sold your location. Alina nearly tripped. Sold? But why? I didn't do anything. You existed in the wrong place at the wrong time, he said, dragging her down a staircase as bullets cracked in the distance. That's enough for men who want control. They reached a reinforced door. Dante shoved her inside a surveillance room glowing with screens, every angle of the mansion displayed in sharp detail. Shadows moved at the gates. Figures with weapons pressed against the outer walls. Alina clutched the back of a chair. They're here for me? No, Dante said, stepping in front of her. They're here to send me a message. Hurting you accomplishes both. A cold wave washed over her. Dante's hand lifted to her cheek, not gently but firmly, grounding her. You're not going to die today. Not while I'm breathing. She stared at him, fear twisting with something deeper. A guard burst in. Boss. They placed an explosive near the east wall. Dante didn't flinch. Defuse it. If you fail, evacuate my men away from that side. And you? The guard asked. Dante's eyes flicked toward Alina. I'll be exactly where I need to be. The guard ran out. Alina's breath trembled. This is because of me. It's because of them, Dante corrected. You're the excuse, not the reason. They want to cripple my control. The monitors flickered. A silhouette appeared near the back entrance, too close. Alina grabbed Dante's arm. Someone's inside. He turned sharply, fury igniting behind his eyes. Stay behind me, he ordered, voice dropping to a deadly calm. It's time they learn why no one touches what's mine. The mansion shook as the battle closed in. And Alina knew something terrifying. This wasn't the climax. This was just the opening move. Alina's vision blurred through tears as she was dragged into a dark van. The enemy had been faster than she anticipated. Every muscle in her body screamed to fight, but she was outnumbered and unarmed. The van screeched to a halt. She was shoved into a warehouse, shadows stretching across broken crates and rusted chains. Fear clawed at her chest. Footsteps approached. The leader of the trafficking ring stepped into the dim light, grinning cruelly. Thought you could escape, little hero? He sneered. You're mine now. Alina trembled, whispering prayers she didn't know she believed in. Then, light. Explosions. The warehouse shook violently. Windows shattered. Smoke filled the air. Screams erupted. Dante. She looked through the haze as figures were thrown aside with terrifying precision. Bullets cracked, men fell, and the leader's grin faded into panic. Alina. Dante's voice boomed through the chaos. He emerged from the smoke, eyes wild with fury, every movement controlled and lethal. He fought his way toward her, ignoring the shouts, the bullets, the danger. Alina stumbled forward, tears mixing with soot. Dante. He reached her, scooping her into his arms. His face was inches from hers, jaw tight, rage simmering in his dark eyes. I told you, stay where I can find you, he growled. The enemy leader attempted one last desperate move, but Dante's hand caught him mid-step. A single brutal movement ended the threat. Silence fell, heavy and complete, broken only by the hiss of smoke and distant sirens. Alina clung to him, heart racing uncontrollably. You saved me, she whispered. No, Dante corrected, voice low and intimate. I didn't save you. I claimed you. The enormity of the words hit her. Claimed her. Protected her. Dominated every moment of her life now. Fear mixed with something darker, an unspoken pull she couldn't deny. Dante carried her out of the burning warehouse, past broken men and ruined plans. His grip was iron, unyielding, but something in his eyes softened just enough to remind her she was alive, because of him. And as they vanished into the night, Alina realized that surviving wasn't enough. She had entered a world ruled by Dante Moretti, one where every heartbeat, every decision, and every danger would intertwine with his. And for better or worse, there was no going back. Back at Dante's mansion, the city lights flickered through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the room. Alina sat on the edge of the sofa, her mind still racing from the night's chaos. Dante entered silently, his coat dusted with ash, eyes dark and unreadable. He didn't sit. He didn't speak. He simply studied her as if measuring every heartbeat. "You're alive," she finally said, voice trembling. "I guess that's thanks to you." His smirk returned, slow and confident. "Alive, yes. But not free. Not in the way you think." Alina's stomach twisted. "I'm your prisoner?" He shook his head. "No. You're mine to protect. And in my world, protection comes with rules." Her hands clenched. "I don't know if I can live like that, under someone's control, always watched." "You already live like that, smart girl," Dante replied, voice softening only slightly. "Every choice you made last night, every scream you reported, it put you in my orbit. And now, you belong here. With me." Alina's chest tightened, a mix of fear and something else she couldn't name. She wanted to protest, to argue, to reclaim her independence. But the weight of the city, the enemies, and Dante's all-encompassing presence pressed down on her. "You saved me," she whispered. "I should hate you." "You don't," he said. "And deep down you know it. You're smart but reckless. Brave but scared. That combination, it fascinates me." He stepped closer, eyes locking with hers, dangerous and intimate. "You survived because of instinct, and because I chose you. And that means something. More than you understand." Alina swallowed, heart pounding, knowing he was right. She didn't fully understand the emotions twisting in her chest, but she knew she couldn't turn away. Not from him. Not from the life he was offering, dangerous as it was. Dante's hand lifted, brushing a strand of hair from her face. His smirk softened just enough to reveal the promise behind the danger. "Stay with me, smart girl," he murmured. "And I'll keep you alive. I'll keep you safe, my way." Alina's lips parted, eyes searching his. In that moment, she realized that she had no choice but to follow him into a world where danger, obsession, and desire were inseparable. And for the first time she didn't want to escape,